Starting it now, though. You gotta make sure that it's going. Is it going? Oh, yeah, we have 4 seconds. We're going. I'll edit that out, by the way.
4 seconds go.
Okay. So today we have 2 young, beautiful women, according to Just kidding. I'm gonna edit that out too.
According to Steven.
All right, today we have Megan and Emma, and they're going to share with us some of their experiences. So first, what I'd like is for you guys to start with sharing your career journey with us. I don't care who goes first, but...
Career journey. So start when I like was thinking about PT, or like just since being a therapist.
Before, like, how did you get into the career? Kind of what led into it, and what you're doing now, and...
Can I tie that into my? Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can.
Tie into my faith journey.
Yeah.
Kind of combine. Okay. And then we're just gonna add into my testimony. I'm just gonna do all of them in one.
That is perfect.
Okay. So in regards to my faith journey, is very similar to my therapy journey. It was very similar to just my testimony in general. I grew up as a missionary kid in Senegal, which is in West Africa. So I was there from when I was born until about 15 years old before I moved back to the United States. Growing up in a missionary family, as maybe a lot of people know, you're exposed to the gospel right away. So I became a Christian when I was 4, I think. I remember at a different conference, although when I was around in 8th grade is when I realized, like, I don't have to keep accepting Christ into my life, but he's already there. And so, you know, before it was just like every altar call I went. But then at that time, and then ever since then, it's just been the growth aspect of it here and there, going through the struggles, the journeys that God has for me. So one thing that I always like growing up in Senegal, it's a third world country. Half the population of the people where I lived were living on the streets. A lot of needs. You'd see a lot of disability, which I'm now going back and thinking about it, I know a lot of it could have been prevented if they had like proper care. And so I always, in my head, was like, I would love to go back and just serve in that way, kind of help with the prevention aspect of treatment. Moving to the United States, went through high school, I was an athlete in high school, went to therapy multiple times myself. So because of that, I got into therapy. I thought it was really cool idea or aspect of the healthcare profession. Went to college, kind of was still considering it. Didn't declare it till my junior year actually, but kind of went all in there at that point and decided I really wanted to use it as a ministry opportunity, a way to set outreach. Because I mean, for me, it's like you go to the doctor once a year for 5 minutes, you see them there. But as a therapy, as you guys know, you go multiple times, sometimes, you know, half hour to an hour, you know, sometimes they're 20, 30 visits at a time, and you really get to bond with people, I guess. So went through there. So I went undergrad in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, did grad school in Madison, Wisconsin for 3 years there. And then just with life journey choices, I ended up kind of applying a lot of around the country, but really liking a job opportunity here in Minneapolis. Took the interview, got accepted, and have been working in Overcare for the past 1.5 years.
Great. Thanks. All right, Megan.
So I grew up in Minnesota, down by Rochester, and similar to Emma, I had plenty of injuries and things in high school being an athlete. So that's how I got interested in first athletic training and physical therapy. So I did go to Bethel for athletic training in the program. I started in 2009, graduated in 2013, and then was accepted into Mayo Clinic's physical therapy program and went from 2013 to 2016. And then in 2016, so just a year ago now, is when I was also hired at NovaCare. So we get to work together. So not as an exciting of faith journey or having the missionary aspect, but I guess I became born again Christian when I was 7. Grew up in a Christian household. My parents kind of led me to Christ, taught me the right and wrong and the ways to lead and the ways to glorify God with what you do. But I didn't really have the true experience or take ownership of it on my own until I got to Bethel. High school was a whole different can of worms for me. And so when I got to Bethel was when I truly took ownership of that faith journey and really grew as a person and with the Lord, and just learning how to care for myself and glorify God, but then care for others and really develop a passion for that. And so I had declared physical therapy back when I was in high school, so I kind of had that path in mind the whole time. And then just continued on and stuck with it and finally have my job now.
Great. Thanks. So I've provided these two with questions that you guys submitted from the class, and so they're going to address some of them and just share with you some of their experiences in regards to this topic. Okay, I don't know if you guys
Yeah. Well,
goes first.
kind of reading through these, we see just like a lot of similarities, some of them in and out. So we kind of combined a couple questions, if that's okay with you guys. I'm hoping that we answer as best that we can. So I think one of the big ones that I was looking at was just, what does it mean to be a Christian in a secular workforce? And I think that is a hard thing at first because, I mean, if you're not a Christian, when you identify yourself, like, who are you? For me, it's like, who are you? Oh, I'm a therapist. That's how I introduce myself. You know, something that I think about though as a Christian, like, is that really my identity? You know, my identity is, you know, I am a daughter of Christ. But, you know, I'm not going to go around and people ask me, I'm a daughter of Christ. A sinner, yet saved. So, but I think that's a huge aspect of being in the secular workforce because you have these two different identities or two different life trajectories that you're living for. And so I think then it's a way to kind of, you know, have to sit back and think about like how am I going to live out both of these and what I do. And I think, you know, going into the workforce, it's like, what am I doing here? I'm working with this patient. I'm working here. Yes, my job is a therapist, but I'm also ultimately a witness for Christ. And everything I do, I should be a witness for Christ, whether, you know, I am arguing with somebody about something, or I'm fighting for something, or if it's just treating a patient one-on-one. Like, my first reaction should be, how can I respond like this and best to let people know who God is and what Christ's love is. And so I think that is the hardest thing about being a Christian in the secular workforce is like you also have to think about that versus just going in and being like, I'm a therapist, this is my job. So I think that you can kind of piggyback off of this, but I think that's the extra bonus I think of being a Christian in the workforce is like I'm not representing just myself, I'm representing God in everything that I do. So coming in, kind of just keeping that in the back of your head.
Yeah, and it, like the way you just live your life, whether you're on the street or at your job or in school or wherever it is, it's like you're living that decision and you're living that commitment, and it's not just when you walk through the doors that you turn that switch on and you're, you know, in that frame of mind, or when you're at Bethel or in the training room or in your clinical rotations that you have your Bethel light on. It's that you have that light on no matter where you are, and the Sultan light, which is the Bethel thing, but that, yeah, you're just always there. And then in terms of physical therapy or athletic training, anything like that, that you're thinking about yourself and how you can take care of the whole person too. So yes, we're physical therapists and athletic training, the athlete thing, but there's so much more to it than just the physical or the sports or the achievements that are so, I guess, personal or prideful. It's more of treating the whole person too. So I know we'll get to it in a little bit too, but with the population that we have a lot at our clinic too, there's so much more psychosocial and emotional and family, every dynamic you can think of plays into it, which really does impact the physical performance too, whether they're high functioning or not. But you're treating them, coming alongside them, being a friend, building that relationship, and we have that unique opportunity because we get to work with them more than the 5 minutes that a doctor will take, where we see them, you know, several hours a week, or you guys are treating them in the training room or at your sports every day. So you just get to build that rapport and that relationship with them, so you're treating the whole person, not just the physical part. And I think if you just embody that journey and the decision that you made to be a Christian, and you just have that and you live that out and you are that light, it'll just naturally come with you and come out of you as you work with those people. So
Good.
Okay. Next
Other question?
You're gonna edit this part out, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to do just like dealing with people, like showing your faith? Because
Or
that was
like
one.
the negative reaction thing.
Yeah, we can kind of tie the titles in.
Yeah, faith is free. Yeah. I like the piggyback part, so you go.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think the next question we talked about was a big one, is how do you integrate your faith into the work environment, and when is that appropriate? And I think one thing I would say is we should all feel truly blessed that we live in a country that your faith is free. You don't have to feel scared of sharing. You're not going to get put in prison. You're not going to get stoned to death or anything like that. Like, you have the opportunity to share your faith. Granted, it might not always be appropriate, and, you know, our job is first, physical therapy, but I mean, like Megan had said before, being a Christian, like, it's almost like a holistic approach. Like, they could be having pain, but they just have a lot going on as well. And so integrating your faith, I think, it's always appropriate to bring up, like, you can say you're a Christian, like, it's not, if the conversation goes that way, not a problem. There have been times that people ask me what I'm doing the weekend, and I'll talk about going to church or things like that, and, if you're not, you're not pushing it on them or being like, hey, you need to listen to my story, you're going to hear the gospel. Like, I think it's fine to bring it up, and, you can kind of play off, a lot of it's going to be playing off of them, if you feel like they're pulling away from that or just kind of, don't want to listen to you, then maybe that's your cue that they're not interested and, you did say something. But sometimes, I think Megan has some stories, but, I've had times of, kind of bringing it up and people ask me, where did you go? Where do you go to church? Or what do you believe about this? And what do you believe about this? And I'm able to sit there and be like, I believe this and I believe this. And some of them are very open, some of them disagree, but, for me, I haven't had any negative reactions to doing that as of yet. So I think it's always appropriate. They're integrating my faith as well. I've taken time sometimes with, even just in the beginning of the schedule of my week or my day, I can look out, and if, there's specific patients that stick out to me that I'm like, I just need to pray over them really quickly, just praying for that day, because I know, like, one, they're a hard patient for me to work with, or that I know that they're struggling with a lot right now, or even just, like, I don't know what to do with them in general. God, like, where am I supposed to take my therapy next? And so integrating that is going to be, I think, a huge thing as well. But yeah, so I think that's different ways that I integrate my faith into the workforce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had, like, the what are you doing this weekend thing, because you're just in small talk throughout your therapy session anyway. And so I volunteer at my church, running soundboard and PowerPoint and things like that. And so there's weekends when I have to work, and, my patients, I have to work at church. And they're like, what do you mean work at church? That sounds weird. You don't work at church. And so it just kind of opens the door for that. And obviously you have a little bit of relationship or rapport with them before that would maybe come up, or you just kind of feel out the situation. I guess there's really no good way to explain that. You just kind of get the vibe on if that's an appropriate thing to share or not. But which has opened the door to, well, what kind of church do you go to? Or, I've never heard of that denomination, or what experiences have you had, or did you always go there? It just kind of goes down all these different rabbit trails that you can kind of take and follow wherever they go. And if it leads to more in presenting the gospel, great, if they're open to it and it goes that way. If not, at least you've opened the door, and you're going to see them again that week, maybe once or twice, or the next week or the next week. And so you have that foundation established a little bit, and so you don't really know where it goes from there. But then that's something that you can pray about. Like Emma said, praying, at the start of the day or the start of that week, and just hope and pray that situation comes up, or that conversation goes that way. For me personally, knowing that there's times when I don't know what to do with a patient from a physical therapy aspect, or I don't want to see them because they always have a bad attitude, or they're just whatever. And it's going to happen in PT and OT and chiro and athletic training. There's going to be the athlete that you don't want to work with, or that is super cocky or whatever. But you can pray for them while you're there. It doesn't have to be public. It doesn't have to be this big display of anything. I've been in conversations about the weather, but in my mind just praying, okay, Lord, give me the words to say, the things to do, the interaction, just let me show your love somehow. And the patient doesn't have to know a thing that you're doing that. It can be completely in your own heart. So I know I've done that, having just the weekend conversation, but then praying for them just silently in my head, or myself, just give me the grace and the, the knowledge and the peace to know what to do. But yeah, I guess it's just kind of
And then I
feeling out the vibe.
kind of picking off of that, and just to another question I know one that we read about was, how do you deal with patients who are just really hard to love, I guess, or really hard to work with? Because you're always going to have that patient, the person who never shows up on time, who never understands, who always has to question what you're thinking, who always has a bad attitude and doesn't want to be there. And it's always going to happen, and the person you like, they just rub you the wrong way, or your personalities don't click, or they're creepy sometimes, and sometimes it's like, I can't deal with this person, and you're frustrated, like, they're showing up again. But I think one of the so that's very, very hard to deal with, and everyone's going to have it. But I think the first thing, in a Christian standpoint, I was saying back and being like, okay, like, this person is so loved by God. This person is an image bearer of Christ. They are a child of God, whether they know it or not. He loves them so much, and they are hurting, and they don't know him, and they don't have that joy, and they're probably seeking him without realizing that they're seeking him. And so in regards to that, it kind of softens your own heart and thinking like, wow, they must, like, if they don't know who Christ is and they have all this going on, like, they must be just so broken. And knowing, like, you don't know what's going on, like, maybe, we have patients who are homeless, we have patients who family members are dying, they're struggling with a terminal illness, and you don't know those things, you don't know why they could be behaving the way that they are. But I think just going back and realizing, kind of putting that on yourself and being like, who is this person? Like, God loves this person so much, and the least I can do is try to love them like or God does. And so I think kind of stepping back like that, kind of like I said, like praying in your head, because they'll come in, situations will come up, you're like, I can't believe they just said that, or why are they doing this? They're not listening to me. They showed up 15 minutes late for their 30-minute appointment, and they don't care. And God, okay, like, you love them so much, I want to love them too. And kind of using that as your guide to treating them that day.
Because some of those situations that Emma described, like, it would be hard for any of us to be in those situations, but we know Christ, and we have that peace and that strength, and know that we can get in the Word and pray and just kind of give all those cares to God and feel better about it. But when they don't have that, just imagine taking that on without knowing that you can give it off to someone else who's much more powerful and will take care of you. And so, it does give perspective that we have that, and that still would be a hard situation. So when they don't, how can we just love on them and give them that? So, yeah.
Good. Good feedback.
Next
Yeah, don't worry, I'll edit the middle
Okay,
stuff out.
perfect.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Any questions that you thought of that you want us to answer?
No, go with
Okay.
what they wanted.
Okay.
It's a student focus
Yeah.
course, so
I'm trying to
I guess there was one about is there a moment that you regretted not doing something? I guess I only have a personal story about that. But.
Yeah. I mean, on a daily basis.
that's okay for them to hear too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel like it? I mean,
I don't know. Or you want me to just do that?
if you want to do that one.
Okay.
Because,
All right. So there was another question. Has there been a moment in experience as an AT or a PT that you regret not sharing faith or regret anything about that interaction? And I guess just recently, I'm coming up on a year now in the workforce, so pretty fresh out and things like that. So I don't have a ton of experience to fall back on. But there is a patient in particular that I had not too long ago where I just had a feeling or a sense, and I guess call it God trying to give me a hint that I pushed away a little bit more than I should have. But just a sweetheart of a lady, came in with a lot of aches and pains and physical stuff that she was obviously there for, but needing just a lot of love and encouragement. She was struggling with weight, she was struggling with things at home, been really down and out about her injuries and depression, the whole kind of 9 yards of that. And it was just on my heart from day one that I should pray with her, or at least pray for her, and that I should offer it to her too, that I would pray with her in the clinic if that's something she'd be open to. And I guess I never did, and I don't really know why. I guess sometimes there's fear of judgment from management, from not knowing who else is going to be in the clinic at that time, who's going to overhear other patients. Or I know with Emma there, that's no fear of judgment. Yeah, no fear of judgment there. But not everyone on staff is a Christian at our clinic, and like I said, other patients and things too. So I guess the fear of judgment, though, that sounds so silly and it shouldn't be there, but it is when you're in a secular world for sure. And I guess sometimes there even is at Bethel, where it should be such a safe environment and know that everybody's kind of on the same page with that. But anyway, so I do regret that moment, knowing that I maybe could have helped more, or at least offered that, and I didn't. So, and now I no longer have her as a patient. So opportunity missed. That doesn't mean I still can't pray for her now and hope that things have straightened out in her life and that she maybe comes to know the Lord some other way. But I guess that is one regret, I should have done it. Just jump into it. Don't fear judgment. Don't fear that you'll have the wrong words to say, because if that's really on your heart, God will direct you. He'll give you the words to say and the things to do and how to say it, where to say it. And so just jump in, because what is there to lose? What could go wrong, honestly? So just be confident, and you know who you are. You know Christ. You have Christ in your heart. So just spread it, love it. Don't be scared of it.
I can kind of pick you off of that, and this is an essay